Welcome back to another Passport to Possibility, brought to you by Harding-Marlin Attorneys at Law. Again, I'm joined by Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
And today we will be discussing the rise of citizenship by descent in 2025. So, Jennifer, there's been growing interest from people reaching out to you regarding citizenship by descent, citizenship by ancestry. Let's start simple. What is citizenship by descent?
So citizenship by descent, or otherwise known as citizenship by ancestry, is tracing back your roots to your ancestors to see if you are legally entitled to citizenship.
Mm-hmm. And many see it as a low-cost, more economical route to acquiring a second passport, a second citizenship. Is that the case? Is that accurate?
Yeah, so citizenship by descent is often the most cost-effective route to getting citizenship. Citizenship by investment is something different. It's much more costly compared to citizenship by descent.
Now, looking at citizenship by descent specifically, there's something called right of blood. Can you talk a little bit about this, please?
Yeah, so right of blood, or they quote the principle of jus sanguinis. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But basically tracing back your bloodline and your ancestors to be entitled to specific citizenship.
And do different countries have different policies and requirements depending on which country you're applying for?
Yeah, so every single country has different requirements, different policies. There's no generational limit to getting citizenship. Others, there are generational limits and there are limitations, and sometimes dates are important, sometimes naturalization is in a specific country, or that's important as well. So there's all these specific nuances for different countries.
And I suppose that's why it's important to work with a professional such as yourself and Harding-Marlin Attorneys at Law to navigate the minefield of different nuances from case to case, country to country.
Yeah, we have a whole team that's dedicated to helping with citizenship by descent. It's especially growing in popularity in the last couple of years with more and more people wishing to acquire a second passport.
Mm-hmm. And I remember we discussed prior to filming that there's often a misconception that because someone's surname sounds very much so like they come from a certain country or ancestry, that entitles them alone to citizenship. That's not accurate, is it not?
Yeah, that's definitely not accurate. You really do have to fulfill the legal requirements. And not just because your last name sounds Italian that you should be entitled to Italian citizenship by descent.
And what are some of the important documents you might require to carry out and proceed through with the citizenship by descent process?
So a lot of the programs are similar document requirements that are required as part of the process, and we can help with all the documentation, gathering the apostille, the translations, etc. But some of the main documents are marriage certificate, birth certificates, death certificates, and you have to trace all the documents up until your anchor ancestor and provide personal documents as well in order to build a successful case.
Now you mentioned anchor ancestor. Could you define or go into detail a little bit more for those of us that don't understand what an anchor ancestor is, maybe?
Yeah, so just your ancestor that you can trace back to be entitled to a specific citizenship program, and then oftentimes going a generation back as well.
Mm-hmm. Which countries are currently garnering the most interest in citizenship by descent from the clients or potential clients that have reached out to you?
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of interest in Ireland, Italy, and Poland, I'd say, are some of the top, as well as Slovakia citizenship. So those are some of the top citizenship by descent programs that we've seen interest in.
And again, we spoke earlier, but you're seeing a great uptick in applications and inquiries from North American citizens looking to gain EU citizenship, be it Portugal, Poland, Italian.
Yeah, there's thousands, if not millions, of people that are entitled to citizenship through their ancestors, and they're just not aware of it. Mm-hmm. So I think more people are exploring the opportunity as well as trying to reap the advantages of getting another citizenship.
And these advantages, what are possibly some of those advantages?
So if you obtain an EU citizenship, it gives you the right to live, work, and travel within the EU, as well as there could be healthcare benefits if you use your healthcare system, or if you're sending your children to school or want to have access to an educational institution, there could be reduced fees. And then as well, you can potentially pass on the citizenship to future generations. It's a generational asset.
So Jennifer, I understand that obviously every case is going to be individual. Some cases are going to be more simple and straightforward than others, but approximately how long would a citizenship by descent process take?
So it varies from country to country, and we really try to manage client expectations, but it can be anywhere from sometimes 12 to 18 months plus. Especially now, there's very high demand for people that are wishing to do citizenship by descent, so the timelines are increasing.
So Jennifer, I want to hone in on this because I know how many applications and inquiries you've had about Irish citizenship specifically. Now, I'm under the understanding that if your parent or grandparent is born in Ireland, it's a more simplified case, but there are special cases and allowances made for those whose great-grandparents or maybe great-great-grandparents. Could you talk a little bit about this, please?
Yeah, so for all citizenship by descent, there's a possibility or sometimes a mechanism to make a special case to be entitled to citizenship. And so Ireland is just one of those examples where you can make a special case. It requires much more effort and more documentation and much more work, but there are special cases where you can get citizenship through descent.
And this is going back a generation beyond your grandparents to great and great-great-grandparents, is that correct?
Correct.
Right, yep. Now Jennifer, it might be the case that some of your viewers will be watching this video thinking, I don't have the correct necessary documentation in place, I have a feeling I might be entitled to it, but I have a birth date, a location perhaps, and nothing more. Would that present a huge obstacle to you and prevent them from obtaining citizenship in the future, or how could you facilitate and assist them?
Yeah, so if a client can provide as much information as they can, names, birth dates, death dates, date of marriage, or location, and we can help locate documents and facilitate documents. That's a huge component of it, and we're very familiar with the process. And so we can help apply for documents and do research, and you'd be surprised what we can find.
Yeah, excellent. So in essence, the secret is really just to reach out, see what you can do and help for a case-by-case basis.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. So what are the key differences in your estimation between citizenship by descent and citizenship by investment?
So citizenship by investment is a financial transaction, so it's not based on your family or your family heritage, and it's much more costly. And citizenship by descent is based on your family connection and family heritage and tracing it back to your roots, and is much more cost-efficient way of getting another citizenship.
I know you found some quite interesting stories and tales from clients that you've helped already, but you can uncover some really interesting background and stories tracing that ancestry going back sometimes over 100, 150 years.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's one of the more fascinating aspects is doing the genealogical research. Mm-hmm. And as well, a lot of the times some people, they don't realize that they're entitled to citizenship, and then when we help discover and trace back their roots to a specific country, I think opening and unlocking this entire world and is really meaningful for people, and is something I really enjoy about the work that we do.
No, fantastic. It sounds very fulfilling and purposeful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for your time and discussing citizenship by descent.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kevin.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks for watching.